What's up, everybody? Money Moicano here, and today we're going to do a reaction video of, believe you or not, Ben Shapiro, my brother. You know how crazy it is to be mentioned by Ben Shapiro in a YouTube video after an interview? I'm going to talk a little bit why I did my speech, and then we're gonna watch the video. Okay, so if you are a UFC fan and if you are subscribed to this channel, give the like button right now, my brother. But if you are a UFC fan, you know that after my fight, I did a speech about private property, gun ownership, and freedom of speech, my brother. More I read, more I realize private property is a very important thing. And if you guys remember, I recommend a book. The book is this, in Portuguese, The 6 Lessons of Ludwig Von Mises and the Austrian Economic School. It's a very good book. I'm gonna just give a brief of what the book is about. Was 6 lessons that this economic Ludwig von Mises gave on Argentina when he was alive, and the topics were capitalism, socialism, interventionism, inflation, foreign policies, politics, and ideas. It's a very simple book, but explain a lot about economy, explain a lot about politics and ideas, and I recommend you to buy that shit. And if you don't want to buy, you can download online. It's free, and it's a very important book. I think if you start to understand the concepts of Austrian Economic School, you're going to understand that that's what you need: free market, liberties, and wealthy, my brother. That's the whole thing, my brother. You have to be free to choose, my brother. You have to let the market decide for themselves. The people decide for themselves. The market decide for itself, my brother. You have to let people be free to buy and to sell, to trade, to try and to fail, my brother. That's the whole thing about America. Now, let's see what Ben Shapiro has to talk about that, okay? So, we're going to the YouTube, my brothers. Crazy, my brother. Ben Shapiro Show. Moicano made it to the Ben Shapiro Show. Let's see.
There is a UFC fighter. I've never seen anything like this. His UFC fighter's name is Renato Moicano. And he had just won.
Ben Shapiro, I don't wanna shit too much on you. Money Moicano, my brother. Always remember, Renato Money Moicano.
He's from Brazil. He had just won a fight at UFC 300. And he proceeded to launch into an economic disquisition. And gotta say, loving it. Here we go.
I love it, property, and let me tell you something. If you care about your
You know what's funny? I was doing my shit on the microphone, and my coach was over there just money, money, money.
I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, mother.
Yeah. Love it. That's amazing. Man, talk about using the opportunity. You win a UFC fight. I mean, this is me doing rap, but in reverse. Right? There's a UFC fighter who just beat the hell out of somebody, and he's like, and now I want you to read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian School. So first of all, that's my jam.
Man, his accent is on point. I think he probably knows a lot of Brazilian. Look his accent.
UFC fighter who just beat the hell out of somebody, and he's like, and now I want you to read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian School. So first of all, that's my jam, people. I mean, go watch the Sunday special that we just did with Javier Milei, who's also a devotee of the Austrian School of Economics.
You know what is crazy? Javier Milei, president of Argentina, reposted that on X. And if you don't know, Javier Milei is the first libertarian president. So not only he knows his shit about Austrian Economic School, but he's 100% about freedoms, individual freedoms and free market. And Argentina is doing very good and is be doing like surplus economic like every and each month. So that means they are getting more money than spending more money. And that's unbelievable, because Argentina a year ago was on downfall economic. So that means Javier Milei is doing a good job. He's doing what it takes to make Argentina better. So that's a very good indication, my brother. Let's see how he does throughout these whole years on the presidency of Argentina. But being an economist like he is, being a fan of Mises and the Austrian economics, I think Argentina will be in a better place, and that will give example to the whole Latin America.
Yeah, baby. Read yourself some Ludwig von Mises, and then read yourself some Friedrich von Hayek. Really, read some Baum Bearwork. Like, do it, man. This is the good stuff. Austrian School of Economics getting cited at UFC. I gotta say, I started off as not a UFC fan because I'm not in favor of brutal violence, and now I gotta say, kind of a fan.
That's funny for him to say, because Ben Shapiro, I have to teach you, my brother. MMA is not about a brutal violence. It's about skills. You are a fighter. You are a trained fighter. And that's what I like about sports, you know. Sports is the ultimate meritocracy. And I'm going to give you some examples of free market and Austrian economic schools on sports. So imagine that, my brother. On the book, 6 Lessons, he talk about interventionism. And what is interventionism? Some people, they do good, but some people, they do bad. So the government try to balance that. So let's say you make a lot of money and other people are not making that much money. So they're going to tax you to take your money and give it to help somebody and give it to welfare and social programs. This is interventionism. If you translate that to MMA, let's take Khabib, for example. Let's say the UFC is the government and they would say, hey, Khabib is doing too good. He's beating everybody up. That's not fair with the competition. So next time that he fights, he only can punch with one hand. So he cannot use the two hands and the other guy can use the two hands. So you can understand that. So they take it from one to give it to the another. This is interventionism. And this is what Austrian Economic School is against. You have to let people be free to choose, to do their own mistakes, and eventually to do good or to do bad. It's like, is reality. Austrian economic is reality, my brother. This is one of the best fundamentals of that. So the sports is exactly that. If you are doing too good, if you are like beating up your competition on an interventionism system, they're gonna say, no, you're doing too good. We have to slow you down. So if it's a race and the guy is running too much, they say, hey, let's take your shoes and give a better shoes to the other people so they can compete with you. That's not how America got rich, my brother. You have to have more competition. You have to have better people. And the best of the best should get the reward. You know, we should not be rewarding bad people, only the best. Even if you think that's moral, even if you think that's moral, even if you think that some people are doing too good and you have to help another people, there is a huge problem on that. On the book, they discuss that. And what is the problem? The government is not the best in making decisions. So even if they get the money from the rich, even if they tax you, they're not gonna use the money in the best way, in the best outcome, because usually they're gonna get your money, and we know how it works, especially here in America, in Brazil. They're gonna subsidize the big corporation, the lobbyists. So my whole point with that is we should have less taxation and less regulation and less ties government with like big companies and lobbies, my brother. That's the whole problem. And on the book, they discuss about that, my brother. Let's keep watching the video.
I say, kind of a fan. Kind of there. First of all, I like Dana White. I'm friendly with Dana White. But second of all, like, that's awesome. The world would be a better place if more people read Ludwig von Mises.
100%.
At some point, I'm going to have to explain who Ludwig von Mises is. Suffice it to say, the Austrian School of Economics, those are the founders of what is called the marginal revolution in economics. To give you a very brief exposition. So, their key discovery and their key finding is that there was a basic idea in classical economics that was then picked up by Karl Marx, that value in any good product or service is to be found in labor.
Exactly. And I have read this, and I know this concept that was like first Adam Smith and then Karl Marx did his theory on that. And they are saying the value of the product is the amount of time and work that you put on the product. But this is wrong, because if you do a product that nobody wants to buy, doesn't mean that even if you spend a lot of time, imagine you doing some I don't know, some clothes, some shoes that nobody wants to buy, but the product that you made is very expensive, but people don't like, or you work a lot of time to do that and people don't want to buy, that means it's not worth it because people give the real price for the products, you know? That's what Austrian Economic is teaching us.
Amount of labor, capital, and land, for example, that go into the making of a product create the price of the product. That's where the price of the value of a product comes from that. There's only one, there are a bunch of problems with that particular theory, the labor theory of value. The biggest problem with the labor theory of value is that it's obviously not true. If I'm walking along on the beach and I find a pearl, that pearl is more valuable than something that I worked a lot on.
You know why? Because the scarcity. That's another thing that people don't talk enough of in economy. You have the supply and then demand, and usually people use scarcity stuff to hold value, like gold, like pearls, you know. And that's why I think Bitcoin is so revolutionary, because they work on these systems like scarcity and like proof of work. You know, you have to use a lot of energy and computer power to generate the Bitcoin. So that's the proof of work, and that's gold in our digital era, my brother.
Why? And the answer comes courtesy of the Austrian School of Economics and Ludwig von Mises. And that answer is that the value of an object is in what you are willing to pay for it. So it is not that you actually calculate the price of an object, a good, or a service with reference to how much is labor inherently worth, or land inherently worth, or capital inherently worth, or a combination thereof. That's not how you've bought any product in your entire life. The way that you buy a product is you go to the store and you decide, what is it worth to me?
Exactly.
That is the marginal revolution. It's called the marginal revolution.
I'm going to tell you my example of the marginal revolution and how it's so important. Let's say you have been training a lot, 2 hours, you know, you're thirsty, but you don't have water, right? And you're looking for water, you want to buy water, but let's say it's 4th of July, every market is closed, and you're thirsty, you don't have nothing to drink, you want water, and then you find a place. It's the only place in the city that has water, and then the bottle of water is like $100, right? But man, you're thirsty, you know you're gonna spend the whole day without drinking water, so you say, man, maybe it's worth it, and you buy the first water for $100, and you drink. After that, you're not willing to buy again the water for $100. You know, every time that you consume the item, for you, at the moment, the price, you know, goes down, because you are willing to pay for $100 because the scarcity, because you want that at the given time. But if you have another day with a lot of people with big supply of water, you're not gonna pay the same thing. So that's the marginal revolution that he's talking about. That means like the prices, they are attached to what you need at the moment, and you give the value of the water. You know, if you want the water so bad, you're willing to pay more for that. That's the marginal revolution.
Because the idea is that prices are set at the margin. And one of the big problems in classical economics is what's called the water diamonds problem. Okay, here is the water diamonds problem. It is going pretty deep on a UFC quote here, but this is what he's talking about. The water diamonds problem goes like this. Why is a glass of water less expensive than a diamond? A glass of water is significantly more valuable just in terms of pure utility than a diamond. You can't really use a diamond for anything. Most of us aren't going to buy diamonds and then use them in order to craft things in terms of engineering. So why exactly is a glass of water less valuable than a diamond? And the answer that classical economics had a tough time with, but that the marginal economists were able to answer very easily, is you're not paying for all the water in the entire world. If you're paying for all the water in the entire world, that would indeed be more valuable than all the diamonds in the entire world.
Because you need, of course, you need the water to live, but you're not paying for that.
You're paying for what the glass of water is worth to you right now. And the glass of water...
Exactly what I was saying. What the glass of water is worth for you right now, you know? So it really depends. Like I say, after a training session, a glass of water is much more valuable than when you're watching TV. Sometimes when I'm home, I don't even want to drink water, right? I force myself to drink water. But after a training session, and if I don't have water close, I definitely would pay $100 to drink the water. So the value and the price is subjective. And on this book, 6 Lessons, he teaches you about the price too, because the price has information, you know? when you see the price, you see many economic systems going together, because when you buy water, you're not just buying the water, you're buying the bottle, you're buying for people that put water on this. So it's a whole process, you know, and the price communicate how much people that produce water is paying to make the bottle of water, and the price that he's making the profit too. So there is a lot of information on the price, and the price is very important. And that's why socialism doesn't work, because they cannot calculate the price. Because if the state owns everything, on the fabric, is on the manufacturing, they don't know how much. You don't have a market. And if you don't have a market, you cannot calculate the price. They teach that on the book. It's a very important book to read, my brother.
Water is not worth very much to you because you can just go and find the sink and get yourself another glass of water right now. Whereas you cannot find yourself a diamond right now. So the marginal utility of the diamond is significantly higher than the glass of water. And there may be circumstances where the glass of water is significantly more valuable to you than the diamond. You're dying of thirst in the desert. Now you don't care about the diamond, you care about the...
And the marginal utility, this concept you can use in UFC, you could use in your life, and you know that. That's why the biggest athletes, they make most money, because, you know, the people want to watch them, and so the value grows. People want to watch something, they're gonna pay more, they're gonna change the prices, and they're gonna have more demand for watch this guy, and they're gonna make more money. It's simple as that.
glass of water. In other words, value is in the eye of the beholder.
That's a very good statement. Value is on the eye of the beholder. I don't know if Ben Shapiro know, but he's talking about Bitcoin too. A lot of people say Bitcoin doesn't have intrinsic value, but value is on the eye of the beholder. If you think that thing is worth for you, you're gonna pay for that, and that's free marketing. That's why I think Bitcoin is revolutionary, because for some people that value liberty, decentralization, for some people that love keep the government at bay, to keep the private property for yourself, people that value that, people will value Bitcoin, you know, and that's very important. So that's why you have to look into it. I'm not saying you to buy. I'm saying try to understand, try to study about that. It's like I always say, better than I have a gun is know how to use a gun. And Bitcoin is the same. Better than they have Bitcoin is to know about Bitcoin. So it's for free on the internet. You can find a lot of stuff, a lot of channels that explain why. If you don't have the money now to buy, at least try to look into it and see its principles.
That is a very crucial finding in economics, because once you understand the subjective theory of value, you can no longer say that there is such a thing as an exploitative profit margin, that there's the real value of the thing, and then there's an exploitative profit that's put on top, right? This is the basic theory of Marxism, is that workers create a certain baseline level of value, and then the evil capitalist comes along and creates profit and makes them work extra. That's not how that works. The way that labor is actually valued is by the person who's purchasing the labor.
So what he's saying is the value is made by the person that is buying the product, right? So it's like, you know, these people that like Gucci and Prada or even Rolex, the price of the Rolex is not how much they are using the products to make the watch, is the brand. And if you think the watch worth thousands of dollars and you pay for that, that's your decision, you know? You giving the value to that, because the Rolex, people going to have a perception about you. So when you buy stuff like that, like let's say Gucci, Prada, and Rolex, it's not worth by its products, it's worth by its brands. And because people think that's the value, so people give the value to the brand, if you know what I mean. So that's why he's teaching us about the marginal theory.
And then profit is the additional value that is placed on the final product as produced by the capitalist who had to invest in the machinery and the marketing and the organization and all the rest.
And that's when he's called the machinery, the people that works, that's where the price is set. So the price, the value, communicate that how much the owner or the capitalist is paying for the production to make the product. And then people are going to choose if they're gonna buy or not, based on what they want and how much money they want to spend, right? And the perception of the brand.
Of economics, the Austrian School of Economics and the Marginal Revolution. And thanks to our friend over at the UFC for citing Ludwig Von Mises, because I never get an opportunity to talk about that kind of stuff.
So that was the video for today. It's very hard to me to speak in English. That's why I have a podcast in Portuguese talking about economics and stuff. But I will translate, I will do the subtitles. And if you want to see that, I can post here too. I have a podcast with two economists talking about that in Portuguese, and that's much better than English because it is my mother language. But if you guys want, I can post here on Money Moicano so you guys can see and with subtitles. Let me know if you guys want. Click the like. Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Us.